paintings, this exhibition, would be, say, a compromise, as opposed to my painting directly on the wall and leaving it here for the rest of history and time, you know. But I'd like to think that I can build something into the work that has a timelessness and that can be exhibited so that the compromise is acceptable. Now, in this gallery, which is a very perfect space for me, I was able to make each painting for a separate wall. So I could identify the space with the painting, just as I would if I'd painted it on the wall. The things you're seeing in the exhibition were made in the studio. And they were essentially ways of painting in the studio that had to do with my ideas about being a mural painter. Because by this time I was making frescoes. Don Judd's place, the first one in '73, and one at the Modern. No, I guess Don's was '70, and the one at the Modern was '73. That's about when I began these paintings. But since I didn't have a commission for them, I painted them in my studio, just as I used my studio to paint rooms for the Menil Foundation, places like that, ways of continuing being a muralist. The painting to my right is a painting that I started in 1974. But this painting I made in a studio on Worcester Street off Broadway. All these paintings are painted with oil and Damar varnish and linseed oil, traditional oil painting techniques. As you can see, they're on shaped canvases or rectangles. The more gestural painting that's behind me, I made in '75. And I began adding a kind of a gestural element to the paintings because it was mirroring what I was trying to do with the frescoes. So I was saying the kind of way in which the paint is applied and all of that. I was trying to paint a painting. I was very influenced by Bellini at this point. I was looking a lot at Bellini, looking at Netherlandish painting, Flemish painting, Courbet. And I saw a reproduction of a painting by Bellini that was just black and white. It was almost a drawing. It was called a Lent painting. And I think there is a tradition of painting these black and white paintings with that in mind, and that includes also the drawing that's in the front of the exhibition. It's a study for this, which I did a little bit earlier. Well, this one on the left side is interesting because I painted a painting which is essentially the same size and shape in 1965, and that's in the National Gallery in Washington now. It's hanging there. And that was painted in a kind of monochrome with slight variations of dark blue. And I showed it here with Paula about 9 years ago. I liked the painting very much after I painted it, and I showed it at Park Place Gallery and in the Guggenheim Museum. And I began making drawings using that same shape, but introducing a denser color activity in it. So I wanted to make this painting as a kind of, I think of it as a kind of lunar painting. I don't know if that means anything to anybody else, but it meant something to me, and the kind of color light of the painting is about that. For me, painting is an emotional experience. It's a poetic experience. And everything I gather together to create the kind of poetry I want for the painting could be labeled as an aesthetic, but I don't like that breaking things down. I don't like the separation of drawing from color, from you know, art school talk. I don't like the idea of negative space and positive space and all that stuff. You know, it doesn't mean anything to me.